The Casebook of Sherlock Holmes. The Adventure of the Three Gables. I don't think that any of my adventures with Mr. Sherlock Holmes opened quite so abruptly, or so dramatically, as that which I associated with the Three Gables. I had not seen Holmes for some days, and had no idea of the new channel into which his activities had been directed. He was in a chatty mood that morning, however, and had just settled me into the well-worn low armchair on one side of the fire, while he had curled down with his pipe in his mouth upon the opposite chair, when our visitor arrived. If I had said that a mad bull had arrived, it would give a clear impression of what occurred. The door had flown open, and a huge negro had burst into the room. He would have been a comic figure, if he had not been terrific, for he was dressed in a very loud grey check suit with a flowing salmon-covered tie. His broad face and flattened nose were thrust forward, as his sullen dark eyes, with a smouldering gleam of malice in them, turned from one of us to the other. "Which of you gentlemen is Massa Holmes?" he asked. Holmes raised his pipe with a languid smile. "Oh, it's you, is it?" said our visitor, coming with an unpleasant, stealthy step round the angle of the table. "See here, Massa Holmes, you keep your hands out of other folks' business. Leave folks to manage their own affairs. Got that, Master Holmes?" "Keep on talking," said Holmes. "It's fine." "Oh, it's fine, is it?" growled the savage. "It won't be so damn fine if I have to trim you up a bit. I've handled your kind before now, and they didn't look fine when I was through with them. Look at that, Massa Holmes." He swung a huge knotted lump of a fist under my friend's nose. Holmes examined it closely with an air of great interest. "Were you born so?" he asked, "or did it come by degrees?" It may have been the icy coolness of my friend, or it may have been the slight clatter which I made as I picked up the poker. In any case, our visitor's manner became less flamboyant. "Well, I've given you fair warning," said he. "I've a friend that's interested out Harrow way. You know what I'm meaning. And he don't intend to have no butt in him by you. Got that? You ain't the law, and I ain't the law either. And if you come in, I'll be on hand also. Don't you forget it." "I've wanted to meet you for some time," said Holmes. "I won't ask you to sit down, for I don't like the smell of you. But aren't you Steve Dixie, the bruiser?" "That's my name, Massa Holmes, and you'll get put through it for sure if you give me any lip." "It is certainly the last thing you need," said Holmes, staring at our visitor's hideous mouth. "But it was the killing of young Perkins outside of the Holborn bar. What? You're not going?" The negro had sprung back, and his face was leaden. "I won't listen to no such talk," said he. "What have I to do with this 'ere Perkins, Massa Holmes? I was training at the bullring in Birmingham, when this boy done gone get into trouble." "Yes, you'll have to magistrate about it, Steve," said Holmes. "I've been watching you and Barney Stockdale." "So help me the Lord, Massa Holmes. That's enough. Get out of it. I'll pick you up when I want to. Good morning, Massa Holmes. I hope there ain't no hard feelings about this 'ere visit." "There will be, unless you tell me who sent you." "Why, there ain't no secret about that, Massa Holmes. It was the same gentleman that you have just done gone mention." "And who set him on it?" "S'elp me, I don't know, Massa Holmes. He just say, 'Steve, you go see Mr. Holmes, and tell him his life ain't safe if he go down Harrow way.' That's the whole truth." Without waiting for any further questioning, our visitor bolted out of the room almost as precipitately as he entered. Holmes knocked out the ashes of his pipe with a quiet chuckle. "I am glad you were not forced to break his woolly head, Watson. I observed your manoeuvres with the poker, but he is really rather a harmless fellow, a great muscular, foolish, blustering baby and easily cowed, as you have seen. He is one of the Spencer John gang, and has taken part in some dirty work of late, which I may clear up when I have the time. His immediate principal, Barney, is a more astute person. They specialize in assaults, intimidation, and the like. What I want to know is, who is at the back of them on this particular occasion? But why do they want to intimidate you?" "It is the Harrow Weald case." He at once closed with the offer, but added that his client desired to buy the furniture as well, and would I put a price upon it. "Some of this furniture is from my old home, and it is, as you see, very good, so that I named a good round sum." To this also he at once agreed. I had always wanted to travel, and a bargain was so good a one that it really seemed that I should be my own mistress for the rest of my life. Yesterday the man arrived with the agreement all drawn out. Luckily I showed it to Mr. Sutro, my lawyer, who lives in Harrow. He said to me, "This is a very strange document. Are you aware that if you sign it, you could not legally take anything out of the house, not even your own private possessions? When the man came again in the evening, I pointed this out, and I said that I meant only to sell the furniture. No, no, everything, he said, but my clothes, my jewels. Well, well, some concession might be made for your personal effects, but nothing shall go out of the house unchecked. My client is a very liberal man, but he has his fads and his own way of doing things. It is everything or nothing with him. Then it must be nothing, said I, and there the matter was left. But the whole thing seemed to me to be so unusual that I thought, here we had a very extraordinary interruption. Holmes raised his head for silence. Then he strode across the room, flung open the door, and dragged in a great gaunt woman whom he had seized by the shoulder. She entered with ungainly struggles, like some huge awkward chicken torn squawking out of its coop. "Leave me alone! What are you a-doing of?" she screeched. "Why, Susan, what is this?" "Well, ma'am, I was coming in to ask if the visitors was staying for lunch, when this man jumped out at me." I had been listening to her for the last 5 minutes, but did not wish to interrupt your most interesting narrative. Just a little wheezy, Susan, are you not? You breathe too heavily for that kind of work. Susan turned a sulky but amazed face upon her captor. "Who be you, anyhow? And what right have you a pulling me about like this?" "It was merely that I wished to ask a question in your presence. Did you, Mrs. Mabley, mention to anyone that you were going to write to me and consult me?" "No, Mr. Holmes, I did not." "Who posted your letter?" "Susan did." "Exactly. Now, Susan, to whom was it that you wrote or sent a message to say that your mistress was asking for advice from me?" "It's a lie. I sent no message." "Now, Susan, wheezy people may not live long, you know. It's a wicked thing to tell fibs. Whom did you tell?" "Susan," cried the mistress, "I believe you are a bad, treacherous woman. I remember now that I saw you speaking to someone over the hedge." "That was my own business," said the woman sullenly. "Suppose I tell you that it was Barney Stockdale to whom you spoke?" said Holmes. "Well, if you know, what do you want to ask for?"